Welcome to the College Space. I'm your host, Tim Space, and today we will be talking about college athletes. On today's show, we have Kevin Lewis, a former Johnson & Wales wrestler, now football player for William Patterson University. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
How's it going, Tim?
So let's go right into it. What was the process like applying to schools as a high school athlete?
It was just, it made it easier with the coach helping me out because he was there, guiding me through it, and I don't know, it just made it a lot easier with him being there.
What made it intriguing to apply to Johnson & Wales for the wrestling program?
I kind of went to a bunch of schools and looked at where I fit in better and what coach I liked the best, and that coach there kind of just reminded me of my high school coach, and it just made me fit in there and made me feel at home.
What was the atmosphere like once you went to an out-of-state college?
It was a lot different growing up in a little country town kind of, and then going to a big city, the capital, Rhode Island, being that, it was, I don't know, it's just a lot different and a lot of adapting I had to do.
What weight did you wrestle?
In high school, I wrestled heavyweight and I wrestled 220, and then in college, I went to 285, which was heavyweight in college. How
were the practices?
The practices, the first week and a half of college was really hard. It's all running, a lot of training, and then once you get into it, you just kind of focus on the little stuff and critiquing your technique, so you just get better and better every day.
Which would you say was harder?
Probably the beginning of the college wrestling season was harder, but high school, it just stayed consistent throughout, kind of.
After a semester, you transferred to William Patterson, right?
Yeah.
What made you want to transfer here?
I mean, I adapted to the city, but it just didn't feel right after a while. I just kind of liked being home.
What was the transfer process like?
It wasn't too hard. It kind of sounds like it'd be a big hassle, but it was just, if you get down to it and you have people help you out, it's not that hard. And then I applied to William Patterson, they accepted me the next day.
What position do you play, and explain what you do?
I play outside linebacker, so depending on what defense you run, he could either be on the line with as a fourth defensive end, or he could be in the back as a third linebacker. It could be either one.
Can you take us through a football practice in training camp and during the semester?
You start out every practice, we'd go out and stretch, do lines, and then we'd stretch as a team. And then we break out into either indies or we go special teams, work on our special team stuff. And then we either go team, and then we break out into maybe a 7-on-7 and have the linemen do their own thing. And then we could come together again at the end, do another team session, and then possibly conditioning at the end.
What is harder, losing weight for wrestling or keeping your weight up for football?
Definitely losing weight for wrestling. I mean, I like to eat a lot, so it's not that hard to keep my weight up.
What would you say is the biggest difference from college and high school sports as a whole?
Just that you got to work a lot harder. You could stand out in high school being average, in college everyone's good, so you got to work really hard to be that guy that stands out, to be the big guy on the team,
From your point of view, why do kids want to keep playing on to the next level and keep playing sports?
Just because they really like the whole atmosphere, high school and stuff, it's a big camaraderie. You grew up with these kids, so going through that, you're brothers with them, and then they want to do that, carried on into the next level, try to help them adapt to a new place, a new school, they're coming into a new place, so just be easier.
Well, that is all the time we have left for today's show. I want to thank my guest. Thank you, Kevin.
No problem.
For being on the show. We will catch you next week when we talk about school lunches. Have a good night.